All right, so I've had people ask me about installing the ZeroWork agent in a separate server, specifically in a VPS. So in today's video, I'm gonna go ahead and show you the easiest way to install a ZeroWork agent on a Linux in a VPS environment. So specifically, we're gonna be using Contabo today. I'm gonna be showing you guys how to install it the quickest way possible. So I've kind of gone ahead and did this a few times already, and I've gone and did this like kind of the long way, but I want to shortcut the process. I want to make sure that I can go through it step by step until I found this video. I saw this video by this person, Dep Inspiration Hub, and kind of give me some ideas on what to do and as far as like having the installation process quicker and also be able to install Google Chrome and everything that needs to be done in order to have ZeroWork running on a VPS. So I went ahead and check out the script that he had. So it points to a GitHub here. So you can see that the bash script here, and it gives you the installation step by step. So I took the script, credit to him, and I modified it to add the ZeroWork step to it to basically download ZeroWork, the Debian file for ZeroWork, which you can see and download on this page right here. So currently we're at 1.1.60 beta. So I took the file that's accessible here and slapped it on, added and modified that original script that he had. And then I turned it to my own, which you can see here, it's on my GitHub, which is currently public, which you can actually run this and specify the version of ZeroWork. So if I went ahead and made it a bit more flexible by giving this option to specify the ZeroWork version, which is on the top right here. So let me give you kind of like a tour of what the script does. Disclaimer on the top, making sure that you agree to this. And essentially it's running the same commands that you would typically do. So I have a whole, if you go to if you're a member on my webpage, I kind of documented the whole process step by step here, from generating your own private key and public key, and then logging into Contabo server, and then doing the updates, and then installing the Ubuntu desktop, and then XFCE if you want to go that route, setting up the display manager options, and then installing the Tiger VNC to allow you to be able to go to it. So there's a bunch of ways that you can accomplish this. But for this particular script that he had enabled RDP server, so which will allow us to access the Ubuntu server via the remote desktop access. So you can see here that we're installing the XFCE. We're also enabling XRDP and enabling that, and also we're enabling the RDP as well, the port. And then we're creating a user down here. So what I modified here is after we installed the Google Chrome, I went ahead and added the part where it's gonna go ahead and download the Debian package for ZeroWork. Actually, it's on this one right here. So if you go to my new file, so you can see here after I installed the GDebi, we're installing the ZeroWork version of this that we specified from the top, and let's go ahead and reaching out to Amazon AWS server to download that specific version of Debian, and doing sudo install on that particular file once it's been downloaded. And then at the bottom here, this is where kind of the cleanup process, and it's gonna go and delete everything, whatever was downloaded from the server, right? So just to demonstrate, I'm already logged in. So I'm logged in here as a root user in this. I just finished installing it. I've done this a few times already, so everything's working as expected. I'm also logged in here remotely via the remote desktop protocol. So I'm gonna go ahead and enter my password here just to show you that it's actually working. I'm gonna go ahead and lock this. And then from here, you can see that there's a UI on top of the VPS, and we're able to access the internet via the Google Chrome. We can open up the Google Chrome. So if you wanna see where the ZeroWork is, you're gonna have to go to the accessories. That's where it's categorized at. And then you can see here that it's ZeroWork is right here. So if you're running for the first time, you're gonna have to click on this one right here, which is then it's gonna show up right here in the agent on as the tray icon. So you're gonna have to right click on this, since there's really nothing here that you can really click on it. And then once you right click on it, you're gonna give you an option here to log in. So since I'm already logged in, so you can see that I'm already connected. It's showing my account and some information here. I can check for an update. I can restart the agent and also quit it. So everything's running. I can go to the internet here, go to Google Chrome, and then I can go into ZeroWork.io. Just to demonstrate that it's actually working, I'm going to go ahead and run this workbot here. So I'm going to go ahead and go back into my desktop here, and I'm going to clear the records since I was testing this. So I'm going to go ahead and clear that. So just to show that this automation is actually working, I'm going to go run this, and it's going to go ahead and launch Google Chrome browser, and it will do the whole automation, and you can do the scheduling. So everything's running on the remote server. This is not running on my desktop at all. It's not running on my local machine. So if I go back here, you can see that the record has been populated. So I'm going to show you guys how to install this. Super easy. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start from the beginning. So I have this server running already. I'm going to be showing you guys how to set up the whole process semi from scratch, so you can see how everything kind of works. So I'm going to go ahead and do a reinstall here so that we're starting from a blank slate. I'm not going to set the root password as I want to log in via SSH. So I'm just going to go ahead and select enable root user right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and select the SSH key that I have. If you've never done or created SSH key before, I'm going to go ahead and exit from this. I'm going to go ahead and clear this. So we're going to have to do is SSHN, which will create and generate an ID for you. So I have a tutorial here. I have a step-by-step. So you can see here that in Windows, in order to generate a public and private key, you have to enter this command right here, and this will give you an ID, and then you can just accept the location of it, and then it's going to give you this default ID file name. Right. So going back into the interface here. So once that's set up, you don't have to worry about this for now, but we're going to go back there in a little bit because we need to use the public key that we generate, because it generates a private key and a public key. So the public key is what you're going to need to enter inside of Contabo later on. So for now, we're just going to go ahead and reset the server. This doesn't apply to you unless you're just trying to do this exercise with me. So we're going to go ahead and leave the root password as it is. And I'm just going to go ahead and do an install here. So we're going to be using, for this demo, we're going to be using Ubuntu 22.04, the long-term support. There's also the 24, but we're just going to go ahead and stick to 22 just to be safe. So we're going to go ahead and do an install here. So this is going to wipe out the whole server, and it's going to go ahead and reset the whole server as if we're installing everything from the beginning. So I'm going to go ahead and reset everything. And this process should only take about less than a minute. So you can see that it's installing now. Let me go ahead and close some of these different tabs here. So it's installing now. All right, so once everything has been installed, you're gonna go ahead and go to your inside of your file system. You're gonna look for the .pu file, which is the public file. We're gonna go ahead and right click this and then open up into a notepad, and you're just gonna copy the content of that. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go into reset credentials, and then you're gonna go switch to SSH key. And then from here, you can go and add and store your SSH key here. So we're going to go ahead and rename this into like whatever, so you can recognize what SSH key that is. So you can name this whatever you want. And then you're going to go ahead and paste the public content of that file here. And then you're just going to go and hit create. So once you do that, you can select it from this list. So I'm going to go and select what I have already. And I'm going to go and reset credentials. And I'm going to do a confirm here. So this process, it looks like it's only taking a few seconds, but you kind of have to wait a little bit longer just to make sure that it registers on the server. So if you go back into the terminal, if I do H here, root at, and then I can go ahead and copy that IP address, and I can go back into terminal and paste it. And if you log into that server too fast, it might give you some error, or it might not let you in. Since it hasn't registered yet. So right now you're not able to connect to that server since it's doing a reboot. So you're gonna have to wait for a little bit before you can enter in this. All right, so after some time, I'm gonna go ahead and do up key, and I'm gonna go and try if I can get in. So you can see here that you'll get this warning if you've done this a few times already. So you're gonna have to, as you can see here, that the host key is already in here and you need to reset it. So we can go ahead and go to my dandy documentation here. So if you're gonna have to do a sh keygen -r and then your server IP before you can proceed, so you can reset, so to get rid of that error message. So we're gonna go and pop in, do the up arrow here so that I can bring back the old command. And before that IP, I'm gonna go ahead and paste that sh-keygen and then -R and then space and then the IP again. So you can see here that original contents retained and then the known host has been updated. So if we're gonna go ahead and do the up key 2 times, and I'm gonna go ahead and insist right here. So this is probably the message that most likely you're gonna get. Are you sure you want to continue connecting? And you're gonna go and type in yes, and then permanently added that IP. Please log in as the user admin rather than user root. So probably messed up somewhere in the installation. Let me go ahead and fix it. All right, so I fixed the issue and I had to restart the server and basically reinstall some stuff. Once you're in, the nice thing about being able to SSH is I can just go ahead and execute the command and I don't have to type in my password. So if I do exit here, I can just go back in and just do SSH root at and then whatever the IP address is, and then I can just go and enter that server directly as a root user. That's kind of nice thing about this. So once you're logged into the server, you're gonna see the screen right here. Usually when you get into the server, you're gonna have to do some updates, making sure the packages are up to date, and then you have to install all these different packages and dependencies. So we're gonna go ahead and skip all that and have the script do the entire process for us. So I'm gonna go ahead and paste the script right here, which should work out of the box. I'm gonna go ahead and paste it, and I'm gonna go walk you through what the script does. So what's going to be doing is it's going to go ahead and go download the script, which is a bash script from this URL. And then it's going to go ahead and go to that path, and it's going to go and make it executable. And then once it makes that path executable, it's going to go ahead and execute that command. So before we actually run this, kind of give you like a tour what it does. So I think I went through this already. So it goes ahead and set the ZeroWork version, which we don't have to worry about since you can update the ZeroWork agent itself from within the operating system. So you don't have to worry about this. But by default, it's going to give you the latest version as of today, which is 1.1.60. So the next thing here is the typical things that we usually do, which is to update the server and then do an upgrade. And then the next thing is to install the XF desktop, which will allow us to interact with the Ubuntu environment through the GUI. And then once we do that, we're going to go ahead and install the XRDP for remote desktop access, which will allow us to access the server from the remote desktop RDP. And then after that, we're going to go and configure this. We're going to restart XRDP, and then we're also going to allow the RDP port through the firewall. So after that's been completed, we're going to go ahead and create a new user. You're gonna have to enter the password here, and so this will set up the remote desktop access, so you can access the remote desktop from that username and password. And then it's gonna go ahead and download the latest stable version for Chrome, the Debian version, and then it's gonna go and install that. Once that's been installed, it's gonna go ahead and change the execution path. So this is one of the tricky ones that you're gonna have to encounter. So you can see it in the script, it's adding this flag --no--sandbox, which will allow us to basically open it up. So we're going to go ahead and execute that. So the next part here is we're going to go ahead and install the ZeroWork. You can see here that it's outputting the ZeroWork version right here. So you can see exactly which version of ZeroWork. Hopefully this path doesn't change much except for the ZeroWork version, but we're going to go ahead and do an apt install on this particular Debian file. And then it's going to go and restart the XRDP. And then you can see there's a bunch of output here. And there's on the bottom of the script is where everything is going to be deleted from the path. So just kind of do some cleanup here of all the scripts that has been downloaded. Once we go back to the terminal here, let's go ahead and run this. And then we're going to go and press enter Y and then hit enter. So it's going to go ahead and proceed with the installation. So it's going to go through what we talked about earlier. We're just going to go ahead and install all the dependencies, all the different things that is involved in order to be able to run the things that we need. So it's unpacking and it's doing some installation. So just a bunch of dependencies that we need to get the XFCE and some of the things that we're installing on the server. So this could take I don't know, maybe a couple of minutes. But after this, you pretty much, you don't have to worry about this step ever again, unless you decide to perform this on another server. All right, we're about 60%. So I'm going to keep this in real time so you can see what's happening here, so we don't miss anything. So XFCE, you can see the XFCE stuff. And then new kernel, I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. We're just going to go ahead and tab our way here until OK, and then hit OK again. And then tab to OK, tab, and then we're going to go ahead and press enter. So now this is where we type in basically our username for our DP. I'm just going to type in my name, and then I'm just going to go and paste a password here. So this is a separate password from the root. All right, here you go. So now it's installing the Google Chrome stable version specifically for our operating system. So now it's unpacking it. Hit OK, and then tab, hit OK, hit enter. All right, so now it's gone to the ZeroWork. So it's downloading the Debian file for ZeroWork now, and then it's unpacking, and it's performing the installation for it. I've actually never seen those screens before, so I don't know. So now we are at the part where we can delete the downloaded script, or we can just leave it as it is. We're going to go ahead and press Y and then hit enter. So now we're going to go ahead and switch to a separate screen. We're going to go ahead and, since I'm on Windows, I'm going to go ahead and open up a remote desktop here. So the IP that you put in here is the same IP that is specified in your Contabo, which is the IP right here. So we're going to be using the same IP to access the remote desktop, and we're going to go ahead and hit connect. So now once you're in the screen, I'm just going to leave the session as xorg, and I'm just going to go ahead and I type in my username, which is what I put, Dennis, and then I'm going to go ahead and put in my password. You can't really do a copy and paste here, so I'm going to I have to type in my password manually. So now we're logged in. All right, since this is our first time, let's go ahead and inspect what's has been installed for us. So we're going to go into the internet. So you can see here that Google Chrome here has been installed. And then you see this prompt right here. Every time you install the browser, you're always going to get this prompt. So let's make the Google Chrome the default browser. And we're going to go ahead and hit OK. And it's going to give us to the setup process. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip that. Do not sign in. And then no thanks for that, add privacy. And then we're going to go ahead and navigate to ZeroWork. Actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and go to the applications and make sure that ZeroWork Agent has been installed. So in order to find ZeroWork, you have to go to accessories, and then you're going to see the ZeroWork categorized inside of that. So now you can see here that it's running. There's a tray icon on the top right. So in able to access this, you're going to have to do a right click here instead of left click. And then you're going to have to do a account, click to log in right here. So I'm going to go and copy my credentials and log into the server and log in here. And then I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'm going to do a right click again. So you can see here that I'm connected, the status is ready. And then the version of ZeroWork is 1.11.60. And then I can check for an update here. I can do a restart, and I can also do a quit. So let's go ahead and run the automation, make sure that's actually running on this remote server. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter and log in, put in my password again, never. And then let's just go ahead and fire this up just to make sure that it's running correctly. So we did everything from the beginning. So everything that we did so far was from scratch. So I didn't do any where you saw everything was created and installed from scratch. So you can see that it runs successfully, and I can minimize this. I can go back to my Google Sheet. You can see that the time here is using the German time or whatever I specified on the portal when I signed up for the Contabo account. So if you're curious which plan I signed up for the slowest plan right here, which is the €450 per month. And it has the 4 CPU cores, 4 gigs of RAM. And then I chose the 100 gigs of NVMe instead of SSD. And then 30 terabyte of traffic, which should be sufficient for most use cases. So yeah, so hopefully that helps. If you have any questions about this, or if you're having any issues, please leave it down in the comments, and I'll see if I can help you guys. So yeah, so I'll see you guys on the next one.